Hi there, my name is Bianca Kemp and I am your English instructor. Thanks so much for joining me for today's class. Okay, so in today's lesson, we are going to take the new vocabulary words we've learned and we're going to apply them to the present tense of two verbs, do and be. We're going to learn questions and answers such as, do you live in a house? Yes, I do. And are your neighbors noisy? No, they aren't. So if you're ready to begin, let's jump right in after a bit of review. Hello, welcome back. Hi. Let's get started with today's lesson. Okay, let's review. Listen. Okay, we know that a and an mean one. Okay, a, or sometimes you will hear a, and an, okay, mean one. So they are equal, but we use a for some words or a for some words and an for other words. Okay, for example, an we use with words that begin with the vowels a, e, I, o, and u. Okay, we use an with words that begin with a, e, I, o, u. Okay, so let's look at our examples. Okay, we know that a means one. Okay, so an ant. An ant. What's an ant? This is an ant. An ant. And spell ant. A-N-T. We see that ant begins with a. So we have to use an if we want to say one ant, like the ant here. Okay. An elephant. An elephant. An means one. An elephant, if we remember, is the animal. Okay. And the word elephant begins with E. We also remember that P and H together sound like F. Okay, so elephant, elephant, an elephant, meaning one elephant. Okay, an igloo, an igloo. Here's an igloo. Okay, an igloo, spell igloo. I-G-L-O-O, igloo. An igloo begins with I, so we've got to use an. An igloo, one igloo. Okay, an orange, an orange. Orange is a color, but it's also a fruit, if you remember. Orange begins with O. Spell orange. O-R-A-N-G-E. Orange. An orange means we have one orange. Okay, good. An umbrella. An umbrella. There's an umbrella. What color is the umbrella? Correct, it's yellow. So an umbrella. We use an because umbrella begins with U. So spell umbrella. U-M-B-R-E-L-L-A-N, umbrella. Excellent. Okay, we know that the alphabet has 26 letters, or 26 letters. 5 are vowels, A, E, I, O, and U. So that means that the other 21 letters, okay, we use with A. And we call those 21 letters consonants, okay? So we use A with any word that begins with a letter that is not a vowel, okay? So we use A with any word that begins with a consonant, such as C, okay, a can, or F, a frog, or T, a toothbrush. Here we have toothbrush, or M, a map, or D, a dog, or R, a rat. Okay, so let's say those again. A can, or a can, a frog, a toothbrush, and SH makes the sh sound. So we've got th here, and sh, so toothbrush, a map, a dog, a rat. Excellent. Okay, now remember, okay, we have words such as old, new, quiet, noisy, and big that tell us about other words. They tell us information about other words. We call these old, new, quiet, noisy, big adjectives. Adjectives. And these adjectives, old, new, quiet, noisy, and big, okay, give us information about words such as mop, toothbrush, dog, cell phone, and rat. And these words, mop, toothbrush, dog, cell phone, and rat, we call nouns. Now notice that old comes before mop. New comes before toothbrush. Quiet comes before dog. Noisy comes before cell phone. And actually, this should be like this. Noisy comes before cell phone. And big comes before rat. Okay? So we have old, mop, new, toothbrush, quiet, dog, noisy, cell phone, and big, rat. Okay, if we have just one of each, we need to add an or a, depending on the letter of the word after. Okay? So we have an old mop. Why N? Well, O. A new toothbrush. Why N for new. A quiet dog. Why, Q for quiet. And we said Q and U in English show up together. Okay? Where you have a Q, you have a U. Okay? A noisy cell phone. Why Why not an noisy cell phone? Because of the N in noisy. So a noisy cell phone or a noisy cell phone. And then a big rat. Why Because B for big. So a big rat. Wonderful. Okay. Old, new. Okay. House. Repeat after me. House. Pets. Noisy. Quiet. Neighbor. Small. Big. Apartment. Mobile home. Okay, repeat again. House. Apartment. Mobile home. Neighbor. Pets. Small. Big. Old. New. Noisy. Quiet. Okay, now let's look at the chart together. Let's look at the chart together. Study it carefully. Study it carefully. Okay? Here's the chart. Yes, I know there are many red numbers, but they will make sense in just a while. Okay? So here is the chart. Here's the chart. We have questions on the left and answers on the right. Questions on the left, answers on the right. Okay. Do you live in an apartment? Do you live in an apartment? So 1 is do, 2 is you, 3 live, and then 4 whatever comes after that. Here it's in an apartment. Do you live in an apartment? Or we could ask, do you live in a house? Okay, we need N for apartment because of the A, and we need a or A for house because of the H. Okay, again, do you live in a house or do you live in an apartment? Do you live in an apartment? Do you live in a house? Do you live in an apartment? Do you live in a house? Do you live in an apartment? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Do you live in an apartment? Yes, I do. Do you live in a house? No, I don't. So yes, I do. Okay. Yes, I do. Or no, I don't. So yes, I do. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Okay. Next. Do you, two or more, live in an apartment? Yes, we do. Okay, so you, two or more, 3, 4, 5, live in an apartment? Yes, we do. Do you live in an apartment? Yes, we do. Do you live in a house? Yes, we do. Do you live in an apartment? Yes, we do. Do you live in a house? Yes, we do. Or, do you live in an apartment? No, we don't. Okay, so no, we don't. Do you live in an apartment? No, we don't. Do you live in an apartment? No, we don't. Do you live in a house? Yes, we do. Okay. Next, so we still have do. Do you for one, or do you for two or more. So do you live in an apartment? Yes, I do. Do you, two or more, live in a house? No, we don't. Do they live in an apartment? Yes, they do. So yes, they do. Or no, they don't. Do they live in an apartment? No, they don't. Or yes, they do. Okay, so we have do first. Do you? One. Do you? Two or more. Do they? Do you live in an apartment? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Do you live in a house? Yes, we do. No, we don't. Do they live in an apartment? Yes, they do. No, they don't. Okay. Yes, we will need to study the chart carefully. Study the chart carefully. Okay. Just look. Look. Look here, 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 and here. Okay, take a moment and look. Okay, next, here we use do. Here we use does. Repeat, does. 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 And we use does with he or she. So does he live in an apartment? Yes, he does. Again, does he live in an apartment? Yes, he does. Does he live in an apartment? Yes, he does. Does he live in a house? No, he doesn't. So yes, he does, or no, he doesn't. Does he live in a house? No, he doesn't. Does she live in an apartment? Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Does she live in an apartment? Yes, she does. Does she live in a house? No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. Does she live in a house? No, she doesn't. Does she live in an apartment? Yes, she does. Okay, so again, does he live in an apartment? Yes, he does. Does she live in a house? No, she doesn't. Okay? So study this carefully. We see number one is does. 2, he or she. 3, live. And then 4 is all of this. Okay. So study. Okay. Is your house new? Yes, it is. Is your house new? Yes, it is. Is your house new? Yes, it is. Or no, it isn't. So here we have yes, I do, or no, I don't. Here we have yes, it is. No, it isn't. And here we have do or does. Here we have is. So is your house new? Yes, it is. Or no, it isn't. Is your, for 2 or more, apartment quiet? Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Is his house new? Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Is her apartment quiet? Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Is their apartment new? Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Okay, so study. Study this. Study. Look. Look. Okay. Now, remember here we have do you, do they, does he, does she, but is your house, is your apartment, is his house, is her apartment, is their house. Okay, why do we have is? Why do we have is? Because we have one house, one apartment. We have one. But here we have are. Are your neighbors? We have an S. Are your neighbors? It means that we have two or more neighbors. Are your neighbors noisy? Yes, they are. Or no, they aren't. They, okay, is for neighbors. So are your neighbors noisy? Yes, they are. No, they aren't. Again, we have are and aren't. Why? Because neighbors with an S means we have two or more. Are your neighbors noisy? Yes, they are. No, they aren't. Okay. Are your two or more neighbors noisy? Again, yes, they are. No, they aren't. Okay. Now study. Study. Okay. Now here, is your neighbor noisy? Why are here and is here? Well, are because of neighbors. Is because neighbor. Is your neighbor, just one, noisy? Yes, she is. Or yes, he is. Is your neighbor noisy? Yes, he is. Or no, he isn't. Is your neighbor noisy? Yes, she is. No, she isn't. Is your neighbor noisy? Yes, he is. No, he isn't. Okay, now study. Okay. Study. Now on the chart, we saw don't, doesn't, isn't, and aren't. Don't has an apostrophe. Doesn't has an apostrophe. Isn't has an apostrophe. And aren't has an apostrophe. Okay? Don't means do not. Doesn't means does not. Isn't means is not. Aren't means are not. Okay, let's practice. Question. Do you live in a house? No, comma, we need this comma, I don't. Do you live in a house? No, I don't. Do you live in a house? No, I don't. Question. Do you, two or more, live in a house? No, comma, we don't. Do you, two or more, live in a house? No, we don't. Do you live in a mobile home? Yes, we do. So this you is for two or more. Do you live in a mobile home? Yes, we do. Okay. Does she live in an apartment? Does she live in an apartment? Yes, she. Okay. Does she live in an apartment? Yes, she does. So notice here, does is in the question, does is in the answer. Does she live in an apartment? Yes, she does. Does in the question, does in the answer. Okay. The question is, does he live in a house? Does he live in a house? Well, the answer here is no. So we can't say no, he does, okay? Because does is for yes. So does he live in a house? No, he doesn't. Okay? Does he live in a house? No, he doesn't. Okay? The question is, do they live in an apartment? No, blank, don't. So no and don't, okay? And don't is do not. But what goes here? Do they live in an apartment? No, don't. No, they don't. Correct. Do they live in an apartment? No, they don't. We have they here, they here. Good. Is his house new? Is his house new? Yes, it. Is his house new? Yes, it is. Is his house new? Yes, it is. We have is here, is here. Is his house new? Yes, it is. Is your pet noisy? Yes, it. Is your pet noisy? Yes, it is. Correct. Is your pet noisy? Yes, it is. Wonderful job. Wonderful job.